5 simple ways to help your children who have ADHD. Hey there, I'm Charlotte with Colorful Teaching for You. Thank you so much for joining me. And today we're going to look at 5 simple ways to help your children who have ADHD. This is specifically geared toward teachers, but it can be used in your home as well. So ADHD stands for attention, D stands for the deficit, H for hyperactivity, and D again for disorder. It's also referred to as ADD, which is attention deficit disorder, but that's more of an older term. We now refer to it as ADHD. So for today, that's what I'm going to be focusing on, ADHD. But I wanted to bring up both just in case you use one over the other and are not sure. All right, so it's really difficult to be able to figure out exactly which child has ADHD, especially when they're younger, and so more than often it's not diagnosed until children are in their adolescent years, because many of the symptoms that they exhibit are symptoms that almost every child exhibits, especially when they're younger. So some of the symptoms or signs of children who have it are that they have lower impulse control, they have attention disorder, right? Or there's hyperactivity. You also see children having difficulty with planning. They might have problems with multitasking. They might have extreme restlessness, especially during an activity, and so they will need to change activities quite frequently. And they also might have poor time management skills. All right? Again, like I mentioned, this is true for almost any child. So it's really difficult to really diagnose. What you're looking for is more of an extreme behavior than regular behavior, okay? So keep this in mind before we continue, and we're going to look at 5 strategies right now. The first one is to be flexible. So here, you want to keep in mind that children don't often work well, especially ones with ADHD, where they're just seated for a long period of time. So instead of just having a pen to paper desk, sitting at a desk activity, what you might want to do is have some flexible seating. For example, you might have a cushion somewhere, or you might want to have a carpet, small carpet, nothing big, but a small carpet for them to sit on. You might want to also think about having a standing table so they can stand behind a table. You also want to think about the fact that some children really need to move their body, and so what I like to give them is a band that they can use to stretch, or I like to put a band actually underneath their desk on all 4s. Like if your desk is, it has 1 leg, 2 legs, 3 legs, 4 legs, on the either the back 2 or the front 2, it's better with the front 2 legs, to attach a flexible elastic band, a big one, a thick one, so that they can move that as well. Most children will understand, so don't even have to worry about if it makes a bit of noise, and just have your child know how to use it, right? There's also some children who have this need to move their gums, so I would give them something to chew on. If you're allowed to use chewing gum, then go for it, but for the very young ones it might be tricky, so I like to have just something that, like a little necklace or something that they put around their neck, and they just kind of use it and they just kind of chew it. It's soft, it's rubbery, so that should work as well. The next one is to minimize distractions. So instead of having your children sit close to a door or a window where there's constant interruptions, I would have them sit closer to you instead. So wherever you are either teaching or you are either sitting, have them sit close to you. Now, if the other classroom is causing a distraction, I would close the door and then have some soothing white noise, like classical music playing in the background. All right? The third one is sensory area. Now, I don't know about your individual class, but I do have access to a sensory room, but not every school has that. However, even if I have access to one, I don't always have EA support. In fact, I rarely have EA support. So if you don't have EA support, which is educational assistant, then it is really difficult. You can't have a child going up to that sensory area because other children might be working. So I recommend having a small space in your classroom for when that child is restless and needs to move for a little while, but everybody else is working. Have them go to this space. Now, if you are looking to create this on a shoestring budget, then I have a resource that's going to work wonderfully for your children. So check out the link associated with this video, and if If you don't know if you don't know where to get access to it, check out www.colorfulteachingforyou.com/blog. Colorful has a U in it, and I will link to the exact article in the description so that you know and you can go click on the link. Okay. Now the fourth strategy that we're going to use is hands-on learning. So here, what I like to do is, instead of pen to paper work, because it gets a bit dull for children who need to move, I like to use a lot of manipulative so that they are actually touching it. It's more tactile. I also like to use a lot of experiments so that they're visually seeing what they are learning and fully engaged in their work. The fifth strategy is to integrate brain breaks or integrate breaks. So we've talked about if your child needs to move but the rest of the class is working, they would go to the sensory area. But if you've got a bunch of children who are needing to move, I say just have them get up and do a quick brain break. Now if you are looking for resources for that, I've got 2 different types of brain break resources that you can check. Again, link will be is associated with this article, and so I will link to the article in the description. All right. Now let's recap really quickly. We've talked about the importance or the signs, of ADHD, and we have looked at the relevance of applying each of the 5 strategies. And the 5 strategies that we talked about are: be flexible, minimize distractions, create a sensory area if you can, have hands-on learning, and integrate brain breaks into your lessons. All right, if you have any questions about how to help your students with ADHD, send me a message anytime. In the meantime, thank you for joining me, and remember to create, experience, and teach from the heart. Thank you again. Take care, my friends. Bye.